All right, today we are talking about creating references using inheritance. So remember back to our class hierarchy that we've been talking about. We have our superclass, we have our subclasses. This class hierarchy is going to facilitate the reuse of code by putting all of our common attributes and behaviors into our superclass. It lets us handle just doing all the same stuff that all three of these classes are going to do, all inside of person. So we can kind of label these as either a P for parent or a C for child. So our C classes are our subclasses, our P is our superclass. So a C class is a P. A student is a person. A teacher is a person. So C is our subclass, P is our superclass. We're going to use these labels throughout today's lesson. So during today's lesson and our next lesson, we're going to be discussing something called polymorphism, which is one of the other four main principles of object-oriented programming. Inheritance and polymorphism are pretty closely intertwined, which is why we're talking about it during this unit. So polymorphism is the capability of a method to do different things depending on the object it is acting upon. The word, when you split it into its base parts, comes from the Greek poly, which means many, and morph, meaning forms. So many forms are objects that do different things. So in Java and other object-oriented programming languages, of which there are quite a few, this idea of polymorphism means that an object can take on different forms depending on how it's implemented. Java is able to automatically call the right method, even when an object is disguised as a more generic reference type. So to help clarify how this is going to work, we're going to talk about some more terminology. Look at this variable declaration and initialization. We have done this kind of thing before. Student, my student equals new student. This isn't a new topic. We know how to create and instantiate an object. So on the left side of our assignment here, where we are declaring the variable, this is defining our variable as having a specific reference type. So that reference type is the type that we're putting as the type for our variable. So our reference type here is student, and our variable's name is my student. And on the right side of our assignment is where we are instantiating or initializing our object using a specific object type. Once again, our object type is student, and we're assigning that object to our myStudent variable. So in this example, and up until this point, pretty much all of the times we've made an object, our reference and object types have lined up with one another. So here my reference and object types are both student. However, it is possible for them to not be the same. Remember back to our little hierarchy with P as our superclass and C as our subclasses. It's possible to have a variable declared with type P, to have our reference type be our superclass, and our object type be our subclass. So our reference type here is person, our object type is student. Those do not match up, but this will still work. As long as I have a superclass as my reference type, I can have either a superclass or a subclass as my object type. So, like I was saying, anytime I declare a variable as having reference type P, we can either initialize that variable as having object type P or object type C. So I can say person, my person equals new person. Both reference and object type are a superclass here. Or I can say person, my person equals new student. Once again, my reference type is still my superclass, but my object type is my subclass, my type C. class. Does this idea make sense from here? Cool, okay. So why is this useful? This idea, polymorphism, allows us to have some flexibility when we create a superclass reference type. We can create a method that takes an object of type P as a formal parameter in a method, and then we can pass an object of either type P or type C as an actual parameter. We can also create arrays or array lists that say they're going to store type P, our superclass type, and then we can store objects of either type P or type C, superclass or subclass type. So let's say I have a method where I'm taking a superclass as a formal parameter. I've got my person runner class, got my main method, and I'm creating two different person objects. Person jobs equals new person, so I'm creating a person reference and object type, and then person Lovelace equals new student. Here my reference and object types are mismatched. My greeting method accepts a person object as its parameter. So I can pass both jobs and Lovelace, even though they have different object types. I have person and student as my object types, and pass both of them to that greeting method because they have the same reference type, or both person reference types. Because any person object or any subclass of the person class will have that get name method built in, because they all inherit that get name method. So like I said, since our method is accepting that reference type P as a parameter, we can pass whatever kind of object we want to. We can also store variables like this in an array. I have a person array called people. I can store objects of type P. Jobs is a person object. Lovelace is a student object, but they can both be stored in a person array. Both of them can be put into this type of array and used as though they were a person object. And then I can use a for each loop to reference with my reference type P to print things of object type P or object type C. We're going to get into more details of how to use this, why this is more useful next time. Today we're just kind of talking about how we can use these interchangeably. Now, one thing I didn't actually talk about, one thing that we can't do is if I have my parent and my child classes, I can't say my child variable equals new parent, because I cannot make an object of the child type using the parent constructor. It just will not work that direction. It will work parent variable equals new child. That's okay. Child variable equals new parent. That will not work. So it's only one directional. You can create reference type with a more general type, and your object type can be as specific as you want it to be. And you can go down the chain with this. If you have your parent, child, and let's say child 2, you could say my parent type variable equals new C2. I can create a person as my reference type, and I could use my high school student reference type. No, object type. There we go. You can go as far down the chain as you want to. Does this make sense? Any questions on how this works?
Cool.